Hey everybody, Brett from AstartesGaming here, back with another episode of our RimWorld Rome Let's Play. So, I've taken the liberty of going through and naming the new additions that we've picked up over the last couple episodes. And we actually have another new addition that happened between episodes. So let's go through that real quick, then I'll give you guys a quick update on the fort, and then we'll just get into some gameplay. So, Eel is now Felix, as you can see here. Let's see... Stomp is now Dante, and Diver, who joined us between episodes, is now Artemis. So we have those three renamed. There's still several prisoners for us to recruit in here, so that's going to take a little while, but we'll get through most of them. Regarding the base, as you can see, we have almost one full side of the fort walled off with a proper stone wall. So as you can see, we've got the towers with embrasures. I'm actually going to put some artillery in here. We just don't have access to it yet. And then a wall with alternating embrasures and regular walls, so that we have places to take full cover, but also places where we can set up and shoot through. And then of course another tower here, open to the gatehouse. These little guys right here are steel bar fences, so that's what they look like. That prevents the enemy from getting up against the embrasure and using it as cover as well. So one disadvantage of the embrasures is that they work in both directions. So if somebody were to, for example, break through here and then get up against the wall, well, they would have the same cover protection as the person standing on this side. So what we do is we put something that prevents them from doing that, that offers little or no cover. And in this case, the steel bar fence only gives 20%. It's very durable. And then the person hiding here, shooting through the murder holes, is going to have 75% cover. So that should be quite helpful. I have an extra wooden mounted crossbow in here. We haven't really got to play with these much, but I figured I'd put two in and we can play with them for now. But ultimately what I'd like to do is get either this ballista or that ballista. We'll have to see which one is better. But they're both, I think, 2x2 artillery pieces, so they're much larger than the mounted crossbow that we have. And probably a lot more dangerous. And so what we'll do is we'll have one in this corner right here that can fire in either direction. And we'll put one in this corner, actually probably this corner right here, and maybe move that lamp just so that we're not blocking this. And potentially it could wheel around and shoot into there, because the person standing here would be adjacent, shouldn't risk friendly fire. Same over here. And of course there, but we'll put it in that corner so it can fire, whatever direction it needs to. And that is true of the other walls as well, but obviously one thing at a time. You may notice that I did move our line of wooden spikes up a little bit. So we had a gap of 2 from the water's edge. I moved the whole row here up 1, so it's there now, just to give us a little bit more room to walk through, because a single wide walkway is a very poor idea. If we need to get set up in here, people are going to be running into each other, coming from opposite directions, or it's just going to be chaos. So this gives us more room to move around. People can get by easily if people are already in position along the wall. It just makes a lot more sense. I'm also going to expand this, though I think I'm going to get rid of the trees behind it. Get rid of the rear pillars, and we'll just add like a pillar there, pillar there. Whoops. These will go away, and we'll just use this wall as the backing for support, and we'll make this a bigger training area. So that's sort of the plan there. And as you can see, I did get a lot of our tree decoration stuff planted, though it does take a long time. And then regarding terraforming, we're pushing out this way. I'm trying to get the bedrooms finished before I worry about anything else. But they're just kind of doing this all at once. And again, we're probably going to push out to at least the shallow water here. So everything that's marsh inside the walls is probably going to get turned into ground that we can build on. Solid ground that we can build on. And I might, cut some stuff off there just to make the borders cleaner. And I'll maybe do like a boardwalk or something along the edge just to, break things up a little bit. Regarding this here, I think this is going to be sort of our main, what's the word? Like a mess hall, I guess. So there's a little offshoot right there that's going to be sort of the cooking area and butchering area. The reason why it's not just a rectangular building is because I need this path to come around so that people can get to here. So that 2 wide path is coming through here and then up. This is going to occupy that space there. So this is kind of warping around the path. Therefore, the little section here is going to be where we cook, and then this is going to be an area full of probably just tables and chairs for people to sit and eat their food. I'm not sure what to do with this little bit yet. It might just be, it probably won't be more training. It could be maybe just an outdoor shelving area where we can keep extra weapons and shields on hand so that, if we're in a pinch, somebody can run by and grab a shield if they have to join the front line or something. And I'm not sure how far I want to bring it up because this entrance is a little bit awkward. You can see that this main path runs parallel to this path, and so there's basically just 2 paths right next to each other. But we'll see. I'll try to figure something out that fits nicely in that spot. And obviously we'll have to decide what's going to go here when that time comes. So that's what I've been working on. Let's get things rolling. In case it wasn't obvious when I opened the tab up, we're working on Devil Strand research right now so that we can get that planted. The reason why I want Devil Strand is so that we can start making the red capes without having to recolor them with a mod or anything. We can literally just craft them out of Devil Strand and they're already the color they should be. You may also notice Aetius and Constantine have new helmets. These are actual proper Roman helmets. So they are the Montefortino helmet. And this is an early Roman helmet. So it's a little bit more appropriate than the Thracian helms that we were wearing, which are generally more associated with Macedonia. However, if you look closely at these guys, where are you? Okay. The helmet is actually not sitting properly on their heads. The texture is too high. So for example, if we look at Stilicho's helmet from the front up here, or if we draft him and let him turn, you can see that the helmet comes down to his brow or even over his brow, which is, what a real helmet would do to protect it. This sits like mid forehead. And if we turn him to the side, we can see that that kind of does come down a little bit lower on the side facing. So I think the texture just ended up too high when they made it. I am going to try to remember to go in and just grab it and lower it. That way it doesn't like block their eyes or sit weird on their face. So I'm going to try to do that at some point. And we're going to use those as like officer helms, I think. And while I'm tweaking that, I might make a duplicate without the little plume on top. That'll be sort of our standard helmet. Just so we can distinguish who like the important people are versus like the regular soldiers. So that's something I'll try to find time for, but we'll see what happens. God, everybody is just puking their guts out. Without being able to properly like sterilize this area with modern technology, it's very difficult to prevent food poisoning. It's getting a little bit ridiculous, in fact. So we'll have to figure out a better solution for when we move over into here, because I don't want my cooks and stuff to have like permanent food poisoning. It's just not very efficient. And of course the vomiting all over the floor just makes it more likely for other people to get sick as well, because then the food gets cooked next to it and it's just none of it's good. None of it's good. What are you up to, man? Okay, you're building some flooring in here. That's fine and all, but can we get some more important stuff done? Okay, it looks like Stilicho is going to take over. I don't know how much of this we had last episode. This is a fueled smelter, which I added recently on the suggestion of somebody because we couldn't smelt without electricity before. So this one runs on wood, and it just lets us do the same stuff that we'd be able to otherwise with a smelter, but, you know, using wood rather than electricity. This is the Mediterranean Smithy that came from the research, which allows us to, of course, make all the different Mediterranean helmets and armor and some of the shields. You can actually see Galba is rocking some chainmail right now. I hate the way it looks, though. So I probably will not use it. I'll have him ditch it, and we'll just get him outfitted like everybody else is. I just wanted to do a test and see. But so far, I'm not that impressed. So it's probably just going to end up trade fodder. There's other armors, though, like the Lorca Musculata, both the Roman and the Greek version. The only difference is like the shoulder tassels versus shoulder plates. And there is, of course, the triple disc armor, which is actually what Stilicho's wearing. You just can't see it because he's got that cloak over it. And the, for whatever reason, I think it's here. Yeah, the Cardiophylax is in this bench and not the Mediterranean one. But I think it's from the Mediterranean mod. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is. So I don't know why they split them up, but yeah. And then all of the shields that we're going to be using from here on out, and the Pila, and the Gladii are all going to be in this one as well. So I have to have basically 2 smithies running. And then we got rid of the old tailoring bench for the Mediterranean tailoring bench, which opens up a whole lot of stuff for us there. Because we're only ever going to use the Mediterranean clothing. I don't want to use vanilla stuff. Of course, you know, we've got a little kid in a parka, but I can't help that right now. We'll get to it. It is getting into summer in game, though, so we could probably ditch that parka and get her into a tunic like everybody else. Though I'll try to make her something distinct, because she is, of course, the daughter of the general or the legate or whatever we decide that he is officially. But that would sort of imply that she is, you know, a child of nobility, and therefore we should probably have her wearing some fancier clothes, or at least we'll color them more uniquely, sort of like Dante's tunic. We could give her a fancier cape, maybe a purple one, though obviously that is a little bit ahistorical because that would have been associated with royalty, not nobility. So checking in on our prisoners, I want to see what we are dealing with in terms of resistance. It looks like Goga or Gaugo, I don't know, whatever. He's got just under 6 resistance remaining, so we might see him join relatively soon. Again, he is somebody that is a moderately capable fighter. Could potentially work up into somebody that helps us build stuff, which is always great. But his primary job is probably going to be farming, which is, you know, totally fine too. So all around, he's got some utility. And again, we should be seeing him join the party pretty soon here. Red still has just under 24. So she might be a while. She is a decent fighter again, and a farmer and a doctor. Polar Bear. Pretty much just a fighter, a builder, and a miner. Mostly a miner. But still, those are all things that we definitely need. Bilarar. Wait, we forgot to look at Polar Bear's... Okay, so resistance is 18, but his difficulty is pretty high at 83. Alright, so Bilarar. 5.6. Getting pretty close there. Again, a fighter, a cook, and a crafter. And who is left? Golo. Golo has 62 resistance remaining, so he's going to be a prisoner for a while. But he's got a lot of different abilities that we will be able to take advantage of. Unfortunately, he's greedy, so he's always going to be upset that he doesn't have the best bedroom, but he's just going to have to deal with it. We'll try to do our best to keep him happy in other regards, so that that doesn't, or that isn't, I guess, the straw that breaks the camel's back, if you will. People were asking or mentioning in the comments on the last video that I should do, because the title of the video was like too many prisoners or something along those lines, that I should pit them in fights to the death, and that is something I actually do have planned. Not with these prisoners though, because these are all people that I want to join us. But eventually, I do have a mod that we'll put into use called like Prison Arena or something, and it lets you stage prisoner fights for entertainment. And so we'll build like a little gladiator arena. We can even try to get them into like gladiator gear rather than just having them fight sort of as is. But that is something that we'll have to set up later. For now, I'm only going to be taking prisoners that I'm actively trying to recruit. Later, ooh, that's all bronze, nice. We've been getting a lot of meteorites, and a lot of them are stuff that is actually quite useful. Anyway, for now, I'm only going to be taking prisoners that I'm actively going to try to recruit. Once we are in a position where we're able to utilize that mod, I'll be taking on a lot more prisoners that I don't necessarily intend to recruit, and we'll put them through the arena, and maybe even have like a running champion and stuff like that. We'll have some like little gladiator games. It'll be fun. I just don't know how I want to handle that. The thing is, as I look at the map here, I'm not sure how I want to expand, or if I want to expand. So what I was thinking is, people were pretty adamant about me building like roads and stuff like that, and not just like, you know, a path to the edge of the map here on this map, but building roads on the global map, and I do have a mod that allows us to do that. So one thought that I had was, rather than continually expanding this fort larger and larger, maybe we just build it up so that it's big enough, you know, just utilizing this space here, and then we leave a small garrison and march part of our legion off to go build another fort on a different tile, because that's what the Romans would do. So the arena doesn't necessarily have to be here. It could be at a different fort, or maybe the next fort isn't a fort, maybe it's a proper town or colonia. So there's all sorts of different things we could do. I'm still kind of spitballing what those might be. Feel free to offer your own thoughts. I'm wondering if that might look good, like have a couple there, so that kind of walks out, and then these are gonna go away. And again, all those trees are. But yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be here, especially because we're already getting to kind of run out of space, getting to that point. We have what, 12 right now? I think it's 12. Yeah. This string, having difficulty speaking correctly right now. Yeah, somebody pointed out, let's deal with this real quick, because it's just going to keep being an issue. Hygiene. Water tub. Make it out of steel. Put it wherever. Sure, right there is good. That'll give them some way to wash. The only issue with that is somebody has to actively fill that with water for it to be used. And I completely lost my train of thought there. That's a bummer. Oh well, I'm sure it'll come back to me. Okay, so it did. We have 12 right now. The most that these rooms here will be able to hold is 18. That's assuming that we have a bunch of couples that all pair up and share a double bed. We have 9 rooms, therefore 18 pawns. Any more than that and we'll have problems. And that, again, is assuming that we have that many couples. Right now, most of these rooms are single occupant, so that's even less efficient. There's only so much room that I have to build more bedrooms in here, so at some point this fort is going to be too small to accommodate our growing group. Therefore, again, we either expand or we go and build another fort somewhere else, or another town somewhere else. So that's something that we have to keep in mind. I can, build more bedrooms here, but we're kind of running out of space, and so I can add another section to the fort there, or I can do it in this direction. I could potentially do it there, but I think I'd rather go... I think this makes the most sense right here. Because there's water, again, so we can connect the water for another moat. We could use this mountain as sort of like the corner pillar and build out from there, and it wouldn't be hard to make a moat there, or even just block it off entirely with water. And we could pretty easily connect the water to that too. So I think that's probably the most defensible area that we could expand into. This isn't terrible either. It offers up a little bit more space with still having, you know, a mountain, water, etc. But again, we might just want to go build somewhere else. So Vampire is apparently wild again. I guess nobody's been keeping up with her taming. You're not on here anymore because you're wild, right? Well, I don't really care, if I'm being honest. Let's see. All of the horses should be rescue trained. Not release trained, that's just dumb and dangerous, but definitely rescue trained. Okay. I don't really care, though. Wasn't bonded to anybody. Fox isn't particularly useful for anything, so whatever. So, another thing I'm trying to troubleshoot for this fort is where we should put the well, because we can't have our well be outside the fort. That doesn't make any sense. So we need to have one in here, even if we do leave that one where it is. So, I'd like it to be somewhere where it's not really intrusive. And that is kind of difficult. I could put it inside this building. That would be kind of interesting, but it would be... again, I think kind of intrusive. So maybe like in that corner there, and we put the door to this tower on this side instead. I guess it could be at any point along this wall. We could also squeeze it in maybe on like this corner here, or it could be like in the middle of this. Something like that might not be so bad, so it won't throw off the symmetry of anything, because obviously like this probably should be another lamppost if we're trying to make all things even. But we could have it like right in the middle here, and that again wouldn't throw off the balance of anything. I'd like to have more than one, but we can at least start with that. I think that makes sense. Marble, I should probably see what we have more of at this point. It looks like there's a decent amount of both, but definitely more limestone than marble. So I am going to make it out of limestone then. And maybe we'll save the marble for statues. That is something I'd like to have several of. I'm not sure where I'm going to put them, but what kind of classical fort would this be if... well, I guess you wouldn't have statues in forts, but we're Romans. We like marble statues and stuff. This is not symmetrical. That is unfortunate. Where did I go wrong? Well, I guess what I can do is move this over. Get rid of that, and that's... yeah, that's fine. Sure. This will need to be... oh crap. It's got to be regular soil before it can be tilled soil, doesn't it? So, soil. Soil. There we go. And yeah, that fixes the symmetry, though these guys are going to be off, but we have more space to work them into anyway, so we'll just make them fit along here. I'm not sure what to do with archery targets, because there's not really enough space in here to use them. We've got two options. Why did I click security? It would be under recreation, right? So we have the shooting targets, which they should still use even though they're using bows and not guns, or we can just have an archery target. This does train their range skill. It also obviously counts as recreation, but so do these. So I think the archery target is more appropriate looking, and I think it's also more convenient because, yeah, this has a little bit further to occupy. That's much closer. But I'm not sure where I could fit that and not have people, you know, standing in front of a gate or in the middle of a road shooting arrows. So I might just do them outside. I just don't know where would be a good place. I guess if we cleared this out, we could have another little training area out here. That's, you know, not a building necessarily. We'll just clear the land and put some archery targets. If raiders want to attack them, so be it. It's not a big deal. But that could be something that we do. Maybe it will be. Because this building's not going to stay. It doesn't make sense to stay there. It will be a distraction for the raiders where, you know, we otherwise want to sort of guide them to our gates that'll be heavily defended. It's also significantly blocking the line of sight of these two towers here. I want the ballista in here to be able to shoot their maximum distance, not have to worry about, you know, hitting a wall or not being able to see because of a wall. So yeah, I think we'll clear this out and we'll just throw down some archery targets and, I mean, maybe like a bench to sit down and eat, but we'll keep it pretty Spartan out there just so that, again, it's not really something that bandits are gonna, or raiders are gonna want to pay much attention to. Did you just botch packing dirt? It's kind of sad. Why are you not eating? Go eat. I'm gonna wake you up. If I've got to literally babysit them so that they don't starve themselves to death, it's a little bit sad, but what are you gonna do, I guess? The assassination quest expired again. I had no intention of doing that. In the future we might, but we were not ready for it at this point, and I had no real means to complete it anyways. Let's see here. I think we need to terraform a bit more. This needs to be regular soil, as does that. I feel like it's a little bit weird here that there's like this corner where, I don't know, I'm just gonna roll with it. It's just gonna be like a tree and people can squeeze through it. I'm hoping that they don't. But yeah, I just didn't know what to do because I guess we can leave this open and make it sort of like a main square type of thing where you can walk through it. I'll get rid of the pillars and put like a fountain or something decorative. I'm not sure. There's just a lot of like walking space that kind of all ended up in the same area, and it doesn't necessarily need to be there, but it doesn't make sense to put anything else there, and there's not really enough space to put anything else there, so it's kind of a weird issue. But this base has been a lot less planned out than other ones. I mean, I'm sure if you're familiar with my other playthroughs, you've seen like my meticulous planning. This one I kind of did a little bit freeform. And so I think that shows, because I basically just built a stockpile building or a warehouse, and the entire fort just kind of sprung up around that. And again, the reason that was even built there is just because this wall was already here. This is not even technically ours. I could claim it, but there's no point. Though, I don't know if they'll put the fire... I mean, it's in a home zone. They should put fires out regardless. But yeah, that wall was just there, so I built a warehouse out of it. And then everything else just kind of sprung up around that. So yeah, nothing was really thought out that far ahead. Though, part of the reason I did choose this area is because, you know, the water. So that was sort of planned a little bit. That reminds me, we need to roof off that whole area. And we will not roof this off. I think I'm gonna get rid of these columns. I'll leave some trees on the corners, like maybe the actual corner and then one in either direction on all four of them. But I'm gonna continue this path, and we'll just have like a decorative fountain or something in the middle, and that'll be sort of the main walk, essentially. Along here, I think I want benches so that, you know, people can just kind of hang out, because I don't know what else I would do with that space. This is going to be a tree line. That's going to be a tree line. So I have literally a 1 tile wide space and nothing to do with it. I could just leave it open, but I think it makes sense to have like what would be the best table choice here? I wish this came in a 1x1. I don't know why I need like 2 nearly identical tables. I guess one of them is a little bit fancier than the other. A 2x1 could work, but basically I would do something like that, and then, oh, I can't rotate those. Okay, then we'll do this. Again, and that'll be trees there, so it'll be a nice little place for them to sit and eat. And of course, having places to sit down and eat is really important in RimWorld because everybody loses their minds when they don't have a table to eat at. Or, you know, most of the time they do, they just choose to ignore it. The other idea I was thinking of is just having like park benches. But I think this has a more practical value. This is, you know, pretty much just decorative. It says couples can't sit here. Is that intentional? I feel like it should say they can because it's a too wide thing. It does have a good beauty value though. I'm guessing a lot higher than these. No. This is 30. Wow, okay, well then that'll really pretty the place up. But yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And then again, we'll have trees kind of, well, they'll run along here and then around there a bit. You get the idea. So our well is going in. We'll have more wash tubs too. I think in this space, I would like to have like a Roman bath slash, I'm trying to remember what they called it. But basically it was sort of like a meeting place slash place where you went to use the latrine. People would sit down to, you know, take a dump and like hang out, I guess. So we obviously can't do that the exact same way they would have because in RimWorld, at least with the hygiene mod, pawns don't like people seeing them go to the bathroom. So we would have to have some way to kind of section it off, but it'll be just sort of like a long building with a bunch of latrines in it. And in theory, I could run it along here and do what I did in this section where I wrap a road around it rather than just running the road along the wall. This geyser is a bit of an issue, by the way. If you know how to remove a geyser from a map, please tell me. I'm happy to use the dev tools to get rid of it, but using like destroy or anything like that doesn't seem to do anything. But I'd like to just remove it so we can build across here. Otherwise, I'll do it the legit way and just build it around, but it is kind of annoying and again doesn't serve any purpose because we're not using electricity. Alright, so Bilarar's resistance has just been broken. So let's see, what was your recruitment difficulty? 73, so it might take a couple attempts, but that means that he'll likely be joining us within potentially before the next episode or maybe during the next episode. I guess we'll see. We've also got a lot of idle colonists and I'm not quite sure why. Maybe because there's no planting or tree cutting to be done. So, let's change that. Inside the base, I think we're pretty good with the exception of this section here, so I guess we'll just clear cut this and get that out of the way. Eventually, I'd also like to cut out paths so that we can kind of walk around this map relatively quickly without, you know, getting bogged down by all the trees. So, extending these out a little bit. Obviously, that makes it easier for the raiders to get to us, but I think that's a worthwhile trade because this is, you know, home base, this is safety, and when we do have to venture out, it's nice to be able to get in and out as quickly as possible. Or out and in, I guess. But for now, let's start with this. So I'm going to leave as many of the poplar trees up as I can, especially if they're in the right place. So let's cut all of that. I don't know where that would go. It looks like I marked out where the path might continue. So let's go to there. Anything that's not a poplar tree we'll cut down. So all of those pine trees. You guys are in the wrong spot, unfortunately, so we're going to cut all of you down regardless. And that's probably enough right now. I have to decide what I want to do with this space before I know how that's going to shake out. But if we're going to put a path here, then I don't necessarily need one there, do I? Yeah, because that's exactly where this one is. So we can probably build something there. I'll just have to decide what it's going to be. It's not enough space to turn into housing, because it's only, what, 1, 2, 3 deep. These are 4, so we can make like... No, I don't think that's enough wall to work with either. I was going to say we could make them slightly shallower rooms, but a little bit longer. But I think we'd only fit like 1 or 2. Well, probably at least 2 in this space, but not a lot of them is the point. Devil Strand just finished, so we're moving on to bows finally. Again, that'll let us start making our own bows. Right now I think we can make short bows, but that's it. So this will let us make bows that are actually worthwhile to use and get us into the research that will eventually give us the artillery and stuff that we want. Eventually we'll want to do segmental armors as well, because there's some cool stuff in there that not necessarily the armors itself, but the helmets that it unlocks are some that we might want to use, and then we can kind of figure it out from there. But that should keep us busy for a while. I also need to go ahead and create a growing zone here. For now, I think I'm just going to do the whole 7x7 as Devil Strand. Where are you, Devil Strand? There you are. The mushroom looking thing. Because I think we are going to use a lot of red fabric, and technically I do have a full grid of cotton. It's just split up between 2, though it looks like we're not replanting it for whatever reason. So I don't know why you're idle if there's planting to be done. Ah, now I know why. I don't know why that would have been set to not allow them to resow. I'm trying to like think back on why I may have done that, but I can't recall. So we're just gonna replant it. I should also... I think we're good. I think we're good for right now. I was thinking maybe adding a bit more food, but we can cross that bridge when we need to cross it. I think right now we have enough raw food. It looks like the pemmican's really stacking up too, so that's good. If we need to, we can go hunt a bit more, but there's rice around, though there's definitely less rice than there is meat. Looks like we'll be getting corn and rice soon though, so that should be fine. And how is this coming? Still a ways to go. This is a massive project, building these wells. And rightfully so. I mean, digging a well is not easy. It'd be nice if somebody would come work on this, though. Like, what are you up to? Still just... He's like walking around building random floors. And that's why we get so little done, because he's constantly walking all over the place to do one thing at a time. Where is that tilled? No, okay, let's till that, because I'm going to put trees all along that side. I don't think there's going to be an entrance to this building over here. I'll do one main one there, like a 3 wide door, maybe one like this that we just leave open permanently. And then I'm thinking like a back door here maybe. Just a little 1 wide door that people can exit through if they want to. I don't want to do it in here because again, people are going to be moving around and cooking and stuff. And I guess we could fit one over here somewhere, but I don't know that that's necessary with a big door right here. So I think just those 2. And again, the rest will be walled in. And that'll be where everybody kind of goes to hang out and eat. Alright, the well is finished. And looking at this space, I'm thinking that we could build maybe some stables there for the horses. So that's something that would fit in there because it doesn't need to be especially big. We just need enough room to lay down a couple of animal beds in, you know, maybe we can have little stalls. We don't have to. Obviously, it doesn't serve any purpose, but I just try to build things how they would look in real life so that it kind of sells the whole immersion thing. And I don't think that would necessarily be a problem in that area that we have. So yeah, maybe that's what we'll do. And that'll give the horses somewhere to go. The only issue with that is I guess I can allow them to start grazing over here, because I've had them sort of sectioned to this area so that they're always, you know, kind of close by. But I guess this is just as good and maybe even safer, because somebody can run to a crossbow and shoot something if they need to. But yeah, I think that's what we'll do. I'll revisit this later as well to try to come up with a solution for what I want to do there. And I'm going to try to coax my builders into getting this stuff done, because I'd really like to finish that bedroom. I don't think that there's anybody without a bed. No. I don't think that Atalia is super pleased having to share a room with her father, but I'm probably going to leave it like that just because I think it makes more sense from like an immersion point of view. Like, she probably would in reality be, you know, either living in her father's house or whatever. And that's kind of the best we can do in RimWorld, is something like that. Though I think they both don't like it. Let's see. He doesn't actually seem to care. Yeah, there's no like barracks penalty or anything, so I guess it doesn't matter. We'll leave him like that. But the next person that joins us, which again we just had somebody's resistance break, can sleep here, but only if we make this an interior space. So we'll try to get on that. We should also do that. Well, I think I'll end it there for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I had a great time playing some RimWorld with you, and I look forward to seeing you guys back here for the next episode.